Welcome to the Friends of Jazz 10th anniversary celebration of the birthdays of Duke Ellington and Ella Fitzgerald and the International Jazz Day, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a wonderful day. We're giving some awards, deserved awards to some wonderful musicians, Billy Childs, Pancho Sanchez, Ernie Andrews, and Barbara Morrison. So relax and have a good time. In the meantime, you're going to be listening to some of our jazz students to play some music for you. I'd like to take a moment to showcase a few of our students to perform for you one or two songs. Is that okay with you? All right. So I'm going to give you the names now because I know when they finish you're going to be applauding so much that you can't hear me talk. So on piano, her name is Harmony Chowra. On drums, David Laudosina. On bass, Nasir Yan Mohammed. On alto saxophone, Kobe Deer. On trumpet and flugelhorn, Sarah Sithi Amanua. First song was written by Sarah, the trumpetist. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Our jazz students. Thank you so much. Some of these students here are on scholarship, and we want to get many, many more scholarships for our students. So thank you very much. Another big round of applause for this group. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention right now, because I'm going to introduce you to a very special person who is going to be our master of ceremonies for today, and one who comes with great credentials and lots of experience and is a world-renowned name in the music business.
Good afternoon. My name is Herb Alpert. But seriously, Herb Alpert was not available this afternoon. He and Lonnie Hall are on tour and wish they could be here, but instead, you get me. And if you don't know me, I'm Helen Borgers from K-Jazz Radio. Thank you. This is my 35th year on the air at K-Jazz. I'm pretty amazed myself. The time has gone by so fast. But I'm very lucky to have been in one frequency, playing one format for that long, and to have a radio station who is committed to this music for that long is pretty amazing. I think we're some sort of record holders. So how about a hand for K-Jazz at 88.1 FM? And this is especially nice because today we are here gathered in honor of International Jazz Appreciation Day, which is officially the 30th. There are only 30 days in April, yes, the April 30th. And we are also here gathered together to pay tribute to Duke Ellington and Ella Fitzgerald, both of whom have birthdays this month, and to honor 4 great people from Los Angeles who are world-class performers, and you'll be meeting them individually in just a little bit. But before we do anything else, I've got some other world-class performers I would like to acknowledge that are here in the audience today. First and foremost is my longtime hero. He's been directing a big band in Los Angeles for over 70 years. He's 95 and still going strong. Then I'm talking about the maestro Gerald Wilson, who is up in this area. There he is. And after Gerald Wilson, I would also like to acknowledge one of my longtime friends who is one of the first to get me in the door, really. I don't know that he even knows this, but it was because of him that I was able to attend an Ella Fitzgerald tribute at which I met Jack Sheldon, which was a life-changing experience for me, as you all might imagine. And I met a lot of other people that day too, and it was really because of this man that I got started on my radio career in a big way. So I would like to acknowledge Frank Capp, who is here, I think in that direction too. There he is, Frank Capp. Thank you. And then there were a lot of surprises to me today. Here in the audience, Justo Almario on the right over there. You gotta watch out for Justo though, because not only is he a great instrumentalist, but he's also a very good dancer and is always looking for partners, as I discovered one night to my horror. I also understand Lee Rittenauer is here in the house. Lee Rittenauer, over here at this table. And Paulina DaCosta is here right in front of me. There. Paulina DaCosta, and also I would like to acknowledge his presence right now, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about him later on because he is one of this afternoon's presenters. Leland Melvin, astronaut Leland Melvin is here in the audience right over there. I also would like to acknowledge Dan Guerrero. Dan is the UCLA athletic director, and I believe this is his first Friends of Jazz event that he's been able to attend. So, Dan Guerrero, where are you? Please make yourself known. Over here, Dan Guerrero, welcome. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Robin Kelly, Distinguished Professor in the History Department here at UCLA. Robin Kelly has written books, essays, chapters on the African American and African diaspora, but his book on Thelonious Monk, titled The Life and Times of an American Original, is the first full-length, complete biography of one of the most important composers, pianists in the 20th century American music. And if you haven't read it yet, you should put it on your list. So Dr. Robin Kelly will be here to present an award to Billy Childs. And how about a hand for Kenny Burrell and Dr. Robin Kelly bringing up Billy Childs.
Okay. Well, I prepared a few remarks so I wouldn't stumble, and I realized I had a whole book, which I now whittled down to a few words. First of all, it's a tremendous honor to, with Kenny Burrell, to give this award to Mr. William Edward Childs. And on behalf of the Friends of Jazz, we can only hope that there's enough room on your shelf or wall, given all the honors, the Guggenheim, the Chamber Music America's Composers Grant, Doris Duke Performing Artist Award, 3 Grammys, as the list goes on. And while it's true that Mr. Childs did receive a degree from another institution crosstown, we don't hold that against you at all. I can't recount his biography, but he's been associated with what's been called chamber jazz, described as a kind of fusion between so-called jazz and classical music, with releases of Lyric Volume 1, Autumn and Moving Pictures. But I actually think that's too small for Mr. Childs. Actually, he has his own voice, his own sound, and it's too limiting because every aspect of music is his reservoir, as far as I heard. And just think what it means for someone whose resume includes J.J. Johnson and Freddie Hubbard and Yo-Yo Ma and Diana Reeves and Wynton Marsalis, Jack DeJohnette, Ron Carter, Claudia Acuna, the Kronos Quartet, the LA Philharmonic, the list goes on. And besides, Mr. Childs' fusions cannot be reduced to music because this is a man who deals with poetry, who deals with the poetry of E.E. Cummings, with Walt Whitman, with Langston Hughes, and I think, to me, one of his greatest works of art in terms of fusing the great ideas of one of the most important 20th century thinkers of all time, Dr. Martin Luther King, and putting his ideas to music and his words to music. So I want to hand over the mic. Oh, by the way, that's called The Fierce Urgency of Now, if you know nothing about it. So it's with great humility and honor that I pass the mic to the great, great Kenny Burrell, who has more substantial things to say. So.
Thank you, Robin. I'll try to be brief here. Duke Ellington said many years ago about Ella Fitzgerald, the woman that we're honoring today, that she was beyond category. I think that was probably one of the first times that was ever spoken in terms of music. And we now think of Ellington as beyond category because he did so many different things, more different things, and more of the things than anyone else in the 20th century. Billy Childs is also beyond category. He has done so much and will be doing so many different things because that's who he is. He just has a passion for music. And who knows where it's going to take him, but we're glad that he's going to go there because we're going to try to, we will be the beneficiaries of his pursuits. So we salute Billy Childs in all of his endeavors, a musician of the highest caliber, and certainly is beyond category. And I hope that someday that we will be able to recognize all of the different things and the high level that his work is. And so I really want to congratulate Billy and thank you for coming to receive this honor.
This is really quite an honor for me to be standing here in front of you, being acknowledged like this. I started like anybody else, not really knowing what I wanted to get into, like at a young age, but then kind of being, shepherded by the different forces around me. I'm gonna put this down. Shepherded being around by the forces around me, and that old African saying, "It takes a village to raise a child." Well, that was certainly the case in my case. I had two great parents who let me thrive and let me grow in the way that I needed to grow, and had the piano around the house, had me take music lessons, but never really insisted or forced it down my throat. I had two older sisters, one of which is sitting right there, Joy. Joy actually introduced me to jazz, along with my next door neighbor, Leon Biscara. I'm forever thankful. My other sister introduced me to other types of music that have had a great influence on me. And I grew up kind of in the early 70s, which was really when, a time when a lot of different genres were coming together. And that kind of is what informs my music now. So I've always had this desire to kind of like take music and make music, kind of see what the common thread is in it. And I've never looked at categories. I've just looked at, like Duke Ellington said, there's good music and then there's bad music. And I've always looked at it like that. And, that's kind of all I have to say. I want to thank my wonderful wife, too, for supporting me, Holly, and my two kids, Aaron and Carson. So thank you very much. Thank you, Kenny.
Billy Childs, ladies and gentlemen, Billy Childs.
Now, before we honor our next awardee, I would like to acknowledge some of the people who have made this afternoon possible. We could not have done it without the support of Jim Barral. Is Jim Barral here, I hope? And Jackie Banchik. Jackie Banchik, over here. Gloria Turner, who I think is over at this table here. And Belinda Tucker. Wish to thank all four of them for their support. Also, the two people who worked tirelessly on this event, Claudia Mitchell-Kernan and Sue Townsley. Also, with the help of the School of the Arts and Architecture, the Herb Alpert School of Music, Tony Talbert, president of the Friends of Jazz, along with his work-study student, Sua Cho, I beg your pardon, Sua Cho. But to present the award to Barbara Morrison, I would like to bring up Claudia Mitchell-Kernan, who is Vice Chancellor and Dean for the Graduate Studies Emerita, Professor of Anthropology and Psychiatry Emerita, former Director of the Center for Afro-American Studies. She served in Washington. I had no idea you were so important, or I would have been a little more reverent. Served in Washington, D.C. as the Dean in Residence for the Council of Graduate Schools, which is part of the National Science Foundation. She's co-founder of the Friends of Jazz at UCLA. Claudia Mitchell-Kernan. Most importantly, Claudia is responsible for bringing Kenny Burrell to UCLA back in 1977. So we thank you for that. And to co-present, let us bring up Bill Selditz. Bill's career is based in real estate, currently as an arbitrator for the LA City Attorney's Office, so don't make any mistakes. But more importantly, Bill is a longtime jazz fan, an amateur drummer, a good friend to many jazz musicians, and the founder of the Jake Hanna Drum Lunch. We know everything. He has served on the board of the Los Angeles Jazz Society and is currently on the board of the Friends of Jazz at UCLA. So I will turn it over to you guys to present the award to the woman that I'm not allowed to mention.
Thank you. It's both, am I heard?
Yes.
It's both an honor and a pleasure to present the next Jazz Masters Award to a lady whose musical career has shown remarkable versatility. Barbara Morris is best known as a jazz and blues vocalist, and her capacity to inflect both of these art forms in a way that showcases their common heritage. Born in Ypsilanti, Michigan, she began her professional career in Detroit, known for its innovation and creativity and the notable list of artists who have hailed from that Midwestern city. Barbara was a child prodigy who made her first record for radio in Detroit at the tender age of 10. Since she moved to Los Angeles at the age of 21, she has become well known on the local scene, in addition to earning a reputation for her national tours. Indeed, she has dazzled audiences from Montreux and Nice in Europe to Japan, the Philippines, and Australia in the Far East. Jazz artists are particularly discerning performers, and judged by the company she has kept, she has earned her bona fides not only of audiences around the world, but also of her peers. She's been a vocalist with such greats as Jimmy Smith and James Moody, our own and much-loved Kenny Burrell, John Faddis, Grady Tate. She has also kept musical company with Gerald Wilson, Dizzy Gillespie, Ray Charles, Ron Carter, Etta James, Esther Phillips, Johnny Otis, Dr. John, Terrence Blanchard, Joe Sample, Joe Williams, Cedar Walton, Nancy Wilson, Mel Termay, Joe Williams, Tony Bennett, and Keb Mo, and the like. She has been a featured vocalist on over 20 recordings where her more than 2-octave range has been displayed in jazz, blues, gospel, and pop. Dearest, wonderful, soulful Barbara, with this award, we salute you for your signature originality you bring to the interpretation of jazz and blues, your role as a teacher, and your ability to bring to the table the freshness and innovation you so consistently deliver. Thank you, Barbara.
Hey, I get to talk first. I get to talk. Barbara is most deserving of this award for many reasons besides her talent as a singer and a performer. Barbara sincerely and truly gives herself to her audience. She involves the audience in her performances. Barbara gives to the community by running the Community Arts Center to help encourage up-and-coming performers. At Steamers last night, Barbara performed to a full house after getting off a cruise ship at 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Barbara is a very gracious person, has style, class, and pizzazz. I would like to add that Barbara Morrison is one of the most courageous people I know. Now, aren't you glad I didn't eat the mushrooms? Huh? We know what that, tell them what it means, Barbara.
I'm always telling them that all my husbands died very mysteriously. My first husband died from mushroom poisoning. My second husband died from mushroom poisoning. My third husband died from a fractured skull.
Missed.
I couldn't get him to eat the mushroom. So, this is my fourth husband. I'm working on it. I do this show called I Want to Be Loved, and it's the stories of Dinah Washington. And this weekend, we were up at Yoshi's in San Francisco, and Claudia was talking about my age. And I was on stage as Dinah Washington. And one excerpt from the play is, "So, I think you want to know how I got started in this career. Well, my parents brought me from Tuscaloosa, Alabama to Chicago in 1924. I was a little thing like that." So after the show, you know how you go out and, Billy, you know how you go out and greet your fans and sign CDs and take pictures. One lady came up to me and she said, "You know, you look good." And everybody knows that Dinah was married 9 times, 7 on paper, right? So Gary's friend says to her husband, "I didn't know Barbara was married 9 times." So I take on these roles because they're challenging and they're wonderful. I'm here at UCLA because it's challenging and it's wonderful. And I want to thank all the beautiful people that came out, especially Jackie and Howard and Harvey and Betty back there in the back. And he was, I always call him Harry, so he said, "My name's Harvey." But anyway, they're my good, precious friends. And thank you all for just holding me up, keeping me up. And you know what else? I'm just going to keep, as Clean Head Vincent would say, I'm just going to keep on singing the blues, keep on being Dinah. Thank you.
I got it.
How about another hand for Barbara Morrison? Can you pick up the bracelet also? Barbara, among her many other accomplishments, is also very supportive of young talent. And she has nurtured so many young singers. She also now has her own Barbara Morrison Performing Arts Center. So Barbara is just, she doesn't stop. She's the Energizer Bunny. And we are very, very happy to be able to give her this award today. Now, the next award recipient is going to be brought up by two very questionable people. One of them, and I've got notes on him, and I was thinking, why am I reading these? This is a person I know really well. And the other person I know so well that I hardly think she's worth mentioning at all, and that would be me. Because Dr. Steve Loza, who is going to be here, is not able to be here today, so I am taking his place. And so I am one of the questionable people. The other questionable person is actually a man of great integrity, in spite of the fact that one New Year's Eve in the desert somewhere, I've forgotten, I think it was La Quinta, where we were together and he was performing, and he came out on stage in a full sequined vest that was red, white, and blue with stars and stripes. On New Year's Eve, I'll never forget it. What an entrance it was. And this man has been that showy and that flamboyant. Look at him. Look how well dressed he is today. But he's also a heck of, what's my point? You knew who I was talking about. Dr. Bobby Rodriguez. So we're here to give awards to Poncho Sanchez, and I'll give you the mic.
Please, first. You lead first.
Oh my. Well, all right, in that case, if you insist. I get to say a few words about Poncho Sanchez. Poncho was the first jazz musician to become a member of then KLON Radio. He is totally committed to the music, and he sort of paved the way for a lot of other musicians who then became members, including Horace Silver, but it was Poncho who was the very first. Poncho also is the man responsible for having gotten us Jose Rizzo, who does our Jazz on the Latin Side program on KLON, now K-Jazz Radio. Poncho began in high school with a band called Dyke and the Blazers. And I really think he should reconsider bringing that back because, talk about class. Dyke and the Blazers, that's pretty good. And I think, started out on guitar. And he's one of our real local treasures who then has gone on to international fame and one of the stars of the Concord Picante label. He is himself a confirmed jazz educator. And he's written songs, and he's always had an exciting band, and he's one of my heroes and longtime friend, Poncho Sanchez. And we'll bring him up after we get some words of an educational nature, and maybe sartorial also.
He was born October 30th, 1951. Scorpio child. The baby boy of how many children? 14? They were prolific, his parents. And of course, the forgotten one, the last baby, is the one that has to prove themselves. I know that because I'm the last baby too. Poncho told me one day that I sort of inspired him. And I was really shocked. He said, I came to his high school when he was in high school, and it's really weird because I'm very much younger than he. I'll tell you what Poncho Sanchez has done for this city and for music in general. He has inspired a generation of young musicians to go for their dreams. He is coming from a place where he had to teach himself because of the area and the barrio that he came from, like so many of us, have nothing to go on except true grit in our souls and desire in our hearts. He, out of the community, when I heard he was playing with Cal Jader, I almost fell down. And then I heard him play with Cal Jader, and I realized, my goodness, Francisco Poncho Sanchez has got a hell of a groove. And he was just a little kid, little beard. Look at, he's reverting. He's got a little beard now. His first record was astounding. The band was great. He put it together. He had wonderful musicians with him. He's honorable as a leader. He keeps guys in the band for years and years and years and years. He finances their contributions into the union, so when they become as old as he is now, they will have pensions that have money in it. This is an honorable man. There was Tito Puente. There was Mongo Santa Maria. And thank God we have Poncho Sanchez. And maybe his next record will be Viva Poncho!
Thank you, Bobby. Gracias. Yeah, you fool, tell me. That's cool, you can hold for me. Well, anyway, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. It's an honor and pleasure to be here this evening, or this afternoon, I should say. Actually, I'm on the way to a gig, of course. You know, we're going to play tonight. The band's going to play tonight. And it's just an honor to be here. And, you know, Bobby's right. I seen Bobby play at my high school with a band called, I think it was called the Organized Set or something like that, from East LA. Orale. But we're just a couple of years apart. We ain't that far apart, you know. And of course, I met Helen through her brother. Yeah, Ken, you know, Ken Borges, right? So I met Helen through Ken, you know. And I guess I just want to say one thing, that, you know, I'm just a product of Southern California, because I was born in Laredo, Texas, right along the Rio Grande, right half a block from the river. And I moved to Los Angeles. Well, I moved to Norwalk when I was 4 years old. And I'm the youngest of 11 kids. And thank God, all my brothers and sisters are alive and well right now. They're alive right now. And they all live in Los Angeles. So I feel that we're very, very blessed, my family. But once again, I'm a product of Southern California, because we got to Los Angeles, and my older brothers and sisters, who are not musicians, none of them, they would, you know, hear the radio. So I heard the name of Johnny Otis a little earlier, and you know, we used to watch the Johnny Otis show on television, and so we were into rhythm and blues. You know, that's before soul music was around, rhythm and blues. And of course, gospel music. I mean, I'm into Sam Cooke and the Soulsters, and, you know, like that. You know, Lou Rawls with the Pilgrim Travelers. I learned about that when I was a young boy, you know. And my brothers and sisters caught the first wave of the mambo and cha-cha-cha music that came to Los Angeles by way of Cuba, Puerto Rico, New York City, Mexico City, and Los Angeles. So they caught that first wave of Latin music that came here to Los Angeles. So I was about 4 or 5 years old. I grew up my whole life listening to Tito Puente's music, Machito, Tito Rodriguez, Cal Jader, Mongo, every day in my house. So to me, that was my music, you know, not the music from Texas, which I learned later on that I thought that music was from Texas because we were from Texas. Later on, I learned that, no, the Tex-Mex music is from Texas, you know, and I also played in Tex-Mex bands also. But so I guess I'm just a product of growing up here in Southern California, because I love soul music, rhythm and blues, jazz, bebop, and authentic Latin music or Afro-Cuban music. And so I'm just a product of growing up here in Southern California. The last thing I would like to say is, somebody asked me, Poncho, where did you come from? Are you from Cuba? Are you from Puerto Rico? I said, no, I'm from Texas. You know, you can call me country, you know. Anyway, I said, well, actually, you know, I asked my father when I was a little boy. I was at home with my father one day, and I asked my dad, I said, Dad, how did you guys get to Laredo, Texas, because I knew they were from Mexico. My mother's from Mexico. My mother was from Mexico. My father was from Mexico. And I asked my dad one day, Dad, how did you get from Mexico? He was from Matanzas, Jalisco. And how did you get to Laredo, Texas and meet my mother? And he goes, well, we came on the train. I go, oh, your whole family came on the train. I go, that's cool. They came on the train, you know. And I told my dad, oh, that was really nice of my grandfather to buy you guys all tickets to get on the train and to come up to Laredo. And he goes, no. We weren't in the train. We were on top of the train. So that's how I got here. Thank you very much.
Steve, get over here. Yeah. Steve Loza.
That's me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
When I'm not being Herb Alpert, I'm being Steve Loza. I get around. Okay, well now Poncho Sanchez is going to come up on the stage with a small group and play us a tune, and we'll keep the music coming. Because let's face it, that's really what we're all about.
Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Poncho Sanchez. Justo Almario on the saxophone. Justo Almario. Dr. Bobby Rodriguez on the trumpets. Alex Frank on bass. Alex Frank. And Jacques Lecomte on drums. Also want to thank the Mike Domino from Remo Drums for giving us the congas on which Poncho was just playing. So how about that from Remo Drums?
Because we feel it's important to have a jazz orchestra for Los Angeles, just like we have a symphony orchestra for Los Angeles. Would you agree? And of course, we think the music is that important. It's extremely important music. It's America's musical cultural gift to the world. And I understand that my dear friend, Mr. Ernie Andrews, has just arrived.
This is a thrill for me because, as with Gerald Wilson, this man played on Central Avenue and has been a star here in Los Angeles for years and years and years and years and years and years. And so this is very exciting for him to be receiving the Duke Ellington Master of Jazz Award. To present the award, I'm going to bring up a musical director for numerous superstar tours, including Whitney Houston, Christina Aguilera, Ray Charles, Alicia Keys, Beyonce, for television productions including the Grammys, the NAACP Image Awards, the Super Bowl, American Idol, and we all know him from The Tonight Show with Jay Leno as the band leader, Ricky Minor. Ricky Minor. And Ricky will be co-presenting with the man I mentioned at the beginning of the show. I called him an astronaut at that time because it was the first on the list, but that really doesn't even begin to say it. He was an astronaut on the Space Shuttle Atlantis. He's still located in Washington, D.C. He travels to L.A. frequently. He was wide receiver at the University of Richmond. He holds degrees in chemistry and materials science engineering. So in other words, he could probably blow us all up. So it would be really nice to be good to him. He has played with the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys before an injury ended his professional NFL career. Most recently served as manager of NASA's Educator Astronaut Program. He is the son of a drummer, and on top of all of that, he plays piano himself. Leland Melvin. Leland Melvin. So to present the award, I will now give you Ricky Minor. Good luck.
Thank you. Wait, stay close, just in case I don't do well.
I'm right here for you. I got your back.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here. I know that most of you know a lot about Ernie, and I'll let my partner tell the story about his history, but I can tell you about his influence on me and a lot of guys as we were trying to figure out this music thing, if this was going to really work out. I was a student here at UCLA, and I was a freshman, and I knew that I wanted to play music, and I was a math scholar and had a full music math scholarship and a full ride from IBM and a lot of other corporate companies wanting, they wanted my smarts, my brains. But music really touched me, and I remember meeting Ernie Andrews with Gil Askey, and I went to see the band play, and I was taking music lessons, and that was the first time that I ever heard someone really sing and touch me in a way that let me know that I wanted to really pursue music. So I worked really hard, and I cleaned up at Grant's Music Center, and every once in a while, Ernie Andrews would come through there. And then soon enough, I got a chance to, as always, someone's late at rehearsal, and I had my bass always kind of ready. And they said, well, put the kid in there. You know, he can read, put the kid in. And I remember all of those great musicians in that band, and not one person was patient with me but Ernie, because they were like, you're at the wrong part, let her be. Now catch up, come on, you're slowing down, you're playing the wrong chord, you know. So, I mean, that's when you know whether you have what it takes to do it, and that's when the rubber meets the road. But Ernie always said, hey, baby. But I know that I wanted to play the way that Ernie sings, and I want to touch people in that way. So I dedicate to spend the rest of my life trying to do that. So thank you, Ernie.
Stay up here, Ricky. Come on. I think so. Hold my hand, man. Okay. So I have to apologize from the very beginning because I had not heard Ernie's music until this morning. And thank Claudia for bringing me up here, I guess. But when I think about what he's done with the genre and melding genres together to have this smooth melodic sound, I think something I read was he has this way of making bodies go in motion when he sings. And I think about the motion that I was in going around the planet every 90 minutes, listening to Quincy Jones and listening to Christian McBride while I was up on the International Space Station. And so I apologize because I should have had your music there, listening to you as we come together as a civilization. That's what music does. It brings people together. It brings people together from all over the world. It brings people together who used to fight against each other. So I was in space with Russians and Germans, people we used to fight against, looking at the blues. And I think of your 1964 live session with Cannonball Adderley with the new exciting voice of Ernie Andrews. And he said in the intro, there are people on earth who really can get it with Ernie. And right now, and know what he's talking about, and get it to the nitty gritty. The Many Faces of Ernie Andrews in 1998, Satin Doll, the mashup of Satin Doll, I Got It Bad, That Ain't Good, and Take the A Train. And then I think about floating in space, looking down at the Bahamas and the oceans and the waters for Unarticulated Blues in Parker's Mood. So you have helped change multiple genres, you have melded them together. You are a person who has a legacy that you've lived and have helped others, like my man here, that I just found out about. But you've helped him and others, many others, carry this thing we call jazz forward in the future. It will help change our civilization through this craft, through this art. So thank you, Ernie. Come on up.
You did.
Thank you very much. I don't know what to say right here. I know one thing, it's been 60 years that I've been here in this city. I've been here since 1945, but I've been in this business 60 years fighting the enemy. But it's okay. But I loved it. It's been a wonderful dream, and I've enjoyed the ride. And at 86 years old, thank God. Thanks for everything. Thank you. Thank you. But you know, I really, they're talking about me singing and whatnot. I've always sung songs that I have lived in my life, and it makes it real. When you sing it, it becomes to be real because you've lived it, and not just sing song. So that's what happened all the time. I've lived every walk of life that songs that I've sung. And so it's a pleasure, and thank you for having me here today. Thank you. Sure.
Before we bring Ernie up to the stage to sing, I would like to get Barbara Morrison to stand up next to Ernie Andrews because the two of them have a hit record on the charts right now. I didn't know that. Oh, yes, indeed, and I think we should acknowledge that. They've debuted at number 28 on the charts. They are, in fact, the LA Jazz Treasures. And the disc is called LA Treasures with the Clayton Hamilton Jazz Orchestra. Both Barbara Morrison and Ernie Andrews are featured on that disc. And so I would like to just acknowledge these two superstars who are still charting very well and making LA so big. Put a hand for Ernie Andrews and Barbara Morrison. What a lineup, huh? Wow. Yeah, absolutely. So now we've come to the moment that I finally caught up with my script. So now we're going to play some music. We're going to bring Ernie up to sing with the band, whether with a small band or a big band, and bring them back up to their feet, cheering and roaring in the hot sun. Only one person, well, actually two, because I've seen Barbara do that too. But these two are our LA treasures. And how about a hand now for Kenny Burrell, the orchestra, and Ernie Andrews.
Never treat me sweet and gentle. end up like I started out, just crying my poor heart out. Lord, above me, please make her love me the way she should. I've got it, and that ain't good. When the weekend's over and Monday rolls around, I end up like I start out, just crying my poor heart out. Lord above me, please make her love me the way she should. I got it bad, and that ain't. You know I've got it bad. You know I've got it bad, and that Wow, what a surprise. Thank you. Thank you. Blue, oh, blue. Miles Davis said it was blue. Aretha, Dinah sung the blues. It was blue. Oh, blue. Strayhorn, Ellington played the blues. Sometimes Count Basie, Joe Williams sung the blues. He said, now every day I have the blues. Every day I have the blues. Oh, when you see me wearing baby, you know it's you I hate to lose. Pack it up, moving down the line. Pack it up. Moving on down the line. if I don't get well no more. I have had my fun. If I don't get well no more, you know my health is really failing, and you know I'm going down slow. If you see my mother, please tell her what shape I'm in. Oh Lord, if you see my mother, please tell her what shape I'm in. Tell her to please don't send no doctor, 'cause I do the same thing all over again. If you see my mother, please tell her what shape I'm in. Well, if you see my mom, please tell her what shape I'm in. Tell her to please don't send no doctor. I do the same thing all over again. See, Ryder, see what you have done. Well, now see, Ryder, see what you have done. Well, now you told me that you love me. Now you wanna tell me your man done come. I'm a Bobby, a shotgun, just as long as I am tall. Oh Lord, I'm a Bobby, a shotgun, just as long as I am tall. If I can't have you, baby, I don't want a nobody, a nobody, a nobody at all. I got a baby on the East Coast, a gig going on the West Coast, suitcase full of sorrow. I'm so sick of paying traveling dues, lonely every evening. No good make me leaving. Anyone else could make me happy, like my little baby. One of these days I'm gonna satisfy my soul and go back home where I can see my baby on the East Coast. I got the blues, blues. Oh, Sarah, Ella, some blues, sometimes. Blue.
one and only. All right. Another round of applause for this master of jazz. Ernie Andrews. One of a kind, unique, and that's what jazz is all about, the uniqueness of these beautiful artists. Please welcome to the stage Charlie Harrison, who's going to start us off with the Los Angeles Jazz Orchestra.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to play a piece called Fourth Dimensions that's composed by our guitarist, Kenny Burrell, who's been very modest today, but we're going to feature one of his compositions and feature him as a soloist along with a few other soloists in the band. So I hope you enjoy Fourth Dimensions. advertised. Fourth Dimensions by Kenny Burrell. I heard from Lewis Taylor on the baritone saxophone. Brian Porter on trombone. And of course, Kenny Burrell on guitar. I'm going to hand things over, actually pass the proverbial baton, or the figurative baton, to Dr. Bobby Rodriguez right now.
Some of you here might not know Charlie Harrison, but he is our jazz orchestra conductor, director, and also teaches jazz classes, and a great composer and arranger. That's Charlie Harrison. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue now with a song that, well, another composition by Kenneth Burrell. And it's a beautiful composition called Be Yourself.
Thank you very much. As Bobby was saying, that's the name of that song is "Be Yourself," and that's one of the things that's really important and a really outstanding quality about jazz is that each individual can be themselves and do their thing, and there's always room for a unique voice. And right. That's one of the really powerful things about this music called jazz. There's always room for you if you have something that's offered. I'd like to take this moment to welcome to the piano Billy Charles, a unique voice in the world music. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, William. I'm so glad that was recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, in the parlance of serious music, classical music, if you will, what you just heard was a true rhapsody based on a theme by Horace Silver called Peace. There are very few people in this world that can do what you just heard. This is at the top of the level here with Billy Childs. And we're so proud to have him with us, and as a peer, as a musician, as a friend, and as really an ultimate artist who we all wish was much more renowned. But that's going to happen in time. But the music is just par excellence, Billy. Thank you so much. Barbara Morrison is here with us.
Yeah, thank you. I went to the Kenny Burrell listening session. When was that, last Monday? Last Monday. And they were playing tunes from all of his CDs and records that he did with John Coltrane and Jimmy Smith and blah, blah, blah. And I heard this song. I said, I know that song. I'm going to sing it with Kenny. Heaven sends a song through its doors, just as if it seems to know I'm exclusively yours. Knowing this, I know but one way you will understand it too in these words that I say. I'll close my eyes to everyone but you. Oh, if you're not there, I'll see you standing here. I'll lock my heart to any other caress. No, I'll never say yes to a new love affair. I'll close my eyes to everything that's gay. Ah, if you're not there to share each lovely day, and through the years, each moment when we're far apart, yes, I'll close my eyes and I'll see you with my heart. Lord, if you're not there to share each lovely day, and through the years, each moment when we're far apart, guess I'll close my eyes and I'll see you with my heart. Guess I'll close my eyes and I'll see you with my heart. What a band! What a band! LA! LA! I got this from Ernie Andrews. I don't know, where is he? I hope he's gone. He's there? From teacher to student. Every day. There you go, baby. Every day I get the blues, yeah. Every day I get the blues, yeah. When you see me worrying, Daddy, it's you that I hate to lose. Now you're supposed to say, oh, when I say this name. Don't nobody love me. Nobody seems to care. Nobody loves me. Nobody seems to care. Speaking of hard luck and trouble, brother, you know that I know you've had my share. I'm packing up my suitcase, moving on down the line. I got to pack my suitcase and ease on down the line. Ain't nobody worried and ain't nobody crying. No, seems to me every day I get the blues. Every day I get the blues. When you see me worried, Daddy, it's you I hate to lose. Oh, everybody up, come on. Y'all get up and party with me. Everybody up. Work it, Kenny Burrell. Can't you see I got the blues? I'm telling you, I got the blues. When you see me worrying, Daddy, it's you I hate to lose. Oh, I got the blues. Oh yeah. Count, B, C. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, I got the blues.
There are many, but there's only one, Barbara Morrison. Barbara Morrison in the house. Barbara Morrison in the house. Barbara Morrison. I said Barbara Morrison. I said Barbara Morrison. Barbara Morrison.
Barbara Morrison, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I think? I just think that, I don't know, we have these two unbelievable artists in the house, and they sing separately. Maybe they could sing something together. What do you think? You think that's possible?
You don't see this very often, do you, ladies and gentlemen? The old man kissing the pretty young girl.
Since I got the mic first, we'll do it in my key. We'll make him some.
Whiskey.
Okay. Sorry, Ernie. We're gonna do the blues.
It's gonna be a terror now. Okay.
But it's midnight, one more night without sleeping. Yes, and I'm watching that morning come creeping. Well, now, green door, what's that secret you're keeping?
I heard an old piano, and they played out loud behind the green door. I don't know what they're doing, but they ball a lot behind the green door.
I know.
All I want to do, Barbara, is get behind that green door.
Me too. You know what I saw? I saw an eyeball peeping from a smoky cloud behind the green door.
Yes,
I told him, I said, let me in, because Billy Holiday sent me. They said, hell no, behind the green door. I wish they'd let me in so I can see what's there behind the green door.
well, I went behind the green door. They wouldn't let you in. I can understand it, 'cause I told them you were my friend. They said, no good, baby, no good, baby, no good, baby, no good, baby.
They did that jump,
Was that secret?
Yes, they did that jump to
What
jump.
you keeping that green?
You know they did the
Green
jump
door.
to jump.
What you singing?
You know they did that
Come
jump
on
to
now.
jump.
Keep on swinging.
I wish they'd let
Sing
me in
blues.
so I
Sing
can see
blues.
what's there behind the green.
Next time you see me, things won't be the same.
I know you had another suit last time I saw you.
And next time, things won't be the same. And if you hurt me, my darling, you've only got yourself to blame.
Let me tell you something, Ernie. The man I love, I took from my best friend. The girl got slick and took him back again. Come on in my kitchen.
I ain't in it.
The man I love, I took from my best friend. The girl got slick, she took him back again. Come on in my kitchen. You ought to come on in my kitchen, 'cause it's going to be raining outdoors.
Well, I'm coming down the 405.
Across the US 10.
Coming down the US 5.
And across the US 10.
I got to get back to LA.
I got to get back
That's
to
our new one,
LA.
ladies and gentlemen. And you're going to love it when you hear it.
I was thinking about you, baby, just the other day.
I know that's right.
The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you
know
know
that's
just
right.
what to say.
You got that right. Hey, baby.
That's when I made up my mind. I got to get back to LA.
Go ahead. Well, now I'm back to LA. Back to LA. Back to LA.
I got to get on back.
Back to LA.
I got to get on back.
Back to LA.
Get out of my way.
You're going back to
I
LA.
got to get back to LA.
You're taking the 405, crossing the US 10.
Oh, I'm with
Come
you,
on
pretty
in.
baby.
Come on
Oh,
in.
I feel my love increase.
Oh, no.
I dreamed in all my dreams around.
Sing for me, Helen. I'm through with it. I ain't in it. I'll see you later, Kenny. Hello, 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 hello.
I got to get back to LA.
Get back to LA. Get back.
So we don't do it now.
Now.
So do it now. I felt so low. I can't see a glow. I take it to me when they used to me.
Well, things ain't what they used to be. I'm beginning to see the light. Do you understand? Hello.
I know there's a happy story yet to come. The dawn of the day of glory. Oh, Lydia, I'm not the things they used to be. Ernie Andrews, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Oh, no.
Ernie Andrews, Lady Barbara Morrison.
Barbara Morrison and Ernie Andrews. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a round of applause to Dr. Bobby Rodriguez here. Charlie Harrison, where's Charlie? Charlie's over here. Yes, sir. Charlie, Bobby, you want to...
Ladies and gentlemen, we're in honored position, honoring Miss Ella, honoring Mr. Duke, the grand pillars of jazz music, America's music. And we was started right here. It has spread all over the world. You are in the house experiencing what we all love, right? That feeling of Barbara, the blues, the big band, the jazz feeling. And we're going to give you something old, but something also very new right now in an old arrangement by Duke on a composition attributed to Duke, but we all know that it's also Billy Strayhorn, and is called His theme song, that's right, Duke's theme song. It was just a little thing Billy jotted down one day on the way to Duke's house, and turned out to be one of the classic songs in the American Songbook. Take the A Train.
Ladies and gentlemen, back there on the trumpets, John Pappenbrook, Charlie Davis, Mike Price, and homegrown Courtney Jones. Since we're doing this, let's just go down the line. Louis Van Taylor, baritone sax. Our saxophone jazz instructor here at UCLA and world famous Justo Almario. Lead alto Randall Willis. Pablo Colonguero. She used to be just Hitomi Oba, but now she's Mrs. Hitomi Oba. I'll get to the punchline. Hitomi Oba. Bass trombone, Mark Bolin. Ryan Porter. Alejandro Carballo. So as I was just saying, the other half of the unit has now become official. It is now Nick DePina of the Patina Oba family. Nick Patina. On the drums, Jack LeCompte. Bass, Alex Frank. Keyboard, Billy Mitchell. Our in-house composer, arranger, director, Charlie Harrison. And as I like to call him, the heavyweight champion of jazz guitar, Senor Kenny Burrell.
Bobby Rodriguez, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Dagger. Thank you. I think we're going to close it with a piece written by Bobby. It's a little thing called Jazz It Up.
Here we go, Billy Mitch.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Now, I say, jazz it up. And you say, jazz it up. So I say, jazz it up. And you say, jazz it up. I say, jazz it up. And you say, jazz it up. I say, jazz it up. And you say, jazz it up. Jazz it up! Jazz it up! Jazz it up! I say jazz it up, and you say, and I say jazz it up, and you say, and I say jazz it up, and you say, jazz it up.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. The Los Angeles Jazz Orchestra Unlimited. Charlie, come on up here, Charlie. you so much for supporting us and coming out. We hope you had a good time. Yes, yes, yes. And we'll see you again real soon. Please be careful and God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.